Hey guys, welcome to BP, the Bible Perspective. I want to share a couple of thoughts on the recent NAACP travel advisory. And I want to give a better messaging tactic here, which is how about just vote? Now, before we get into it, please like and share this video and subscribe to BP, the Bible Perspective. And as always, if you have a thought or comment, add it to the comment section below. All comments are welcome. Now, in the recent travel advisory that was issued by the NAACP, I'm going to share some of the kind of official statement. But they came out with this message, and they labeled it a travel advisory. Now, the problem that I have with it is the messaging itself. In other words, what is the message? Now, I'm going to read to you the NAACP statement themselves. And I read it and still did not understand what is it that you're saying. And of late, we've been seeing this trend with black organizations and leaders that they are giving off wrong messaging. Remember, defund the police. And while at first I certainly kind of understood what they were saying, but again, they said it badly. And as a result, their political enemies were able to derail the message, take your attention off of the message, and made the message itself sound silly. Used it as a battle cry, massing like police officers. I'm not going to get into that, but when you think about the message of defund the police, what was meant actually was good. In light of the fact that nationwide, police departments in cities are spending millions of dollars to settle lawsuits. Millions. So that's right there is a form of defund the police. Or how about this one? When you have police departments who spend hundreds of thousands, if not millions, on military grade weaponry and equipment to do what? To police who? Now, those would be good examples of what defunding the police would mean. However, when you say defund the police, that's not what comes across. What comes across is taking money away. And then, of course, you have people who were just kind of blatantly saying, yeah, we're talking about defund the police. And they caught one particular congressman who was a proponent of defund the police. When she was accosted on the steps of the Capitol, she called for the police. Now, my point is that was bad messaging. I understood it, but it was bad messaging. Well, now we have the NAACP who issued a travel advisory. Now, I'm going to, again, well, let me show you. Let me read the statement here, and then I'm gonna let you see. Let me read the statement. Now, this is from their website here, the NAACP, and then it says, notice it says right here, the NAACP issued travel advisory in Florida. Now, this is a word game. They're not telling you not to travel in Florida, even though to me, the messaging is still bad, because if you're telling me, even if you're warning, so you're saying something without saying it, but if you're telling me to do that, well, what about the black people that live in Florida? Right? Okay. So here's some of the article that was issued May 20th, 2023. And it says, Washington, today, the NAACP Board of Directors issued a formal travel advisory for the state of Florida. The travel advisory comes in direct response to Governor Ron DeSantis' aggressive attempts to erase Black history and to restrict diversity, equity, and inclusion programs in Florida schools. Now, this is why you're telling then black people as a whole, you're issuing a travel advisory in Florida. In other words, this is a political maneuver against the governor of Ron DeSantis. He says the formal travel notice. You got do this here. Here we go. All right. It says the formal travel notice states Florida is openly hostile towards African Americans, people of color, the LGBT plus individuals. Before traveling to Florida, please understand that the state of Florida devalues and marginalizes contributions of and the challenges faced by African Americans and other communities of color. Now, again, well, let's go and read. Let me be clear. Failing to teach an accurate representation of the horrors and inequities that Black Americans have faced and continue to face is a disservice to students and a dereliction of duty to all, said the NAACP CEO, President and CTO Derek Johnson. Under the leadership of Governor DeSantis, the state of Florida has become hostile to Black Americans, and in direct conflict with the democratic idea that our union was founded upon. Actually, it wasn't. He should know that democracy will prevail because its defenders are prepared to stand up and fight. We're not backing down. And we encourage all our allies to join us in this battle for the soul of our nation. Well, what battle is it? What exactly are you calling us to join in with? He says the travel advisory was initially proposed by the board of directors by the NAACP's Florida State Conference. NAACP collective consideration of this advisory is a result of the unrelenting attacks and fundamental freedoms from the governor and his legislative body. Once again, hate-inspired state leaders have chosen to put politics over people. Governor Ron DeSantis and the state of Florida have engaged in a blatant war against principles of diversity and inclusion and reject our shared identities to appeal to a dangerous extremist minority, said Claire of the NAACP Board of Directors, Leon Russell. We will not allow our rights and history to be held hostage for political grandstanding. The NAACP proudly fights against a malicious attack in Florida against Black Americans. I encourage my fellow Floridians to join in the fight to protect ourselves and the democracy. Now, I'm going to stop here because, again, when I go through and read this, there is absolutely nothing here that I see what he's talking about to fight. In other words, what is he telling me to fight? What exactly are you telling us to do? Now, when you say a travel advisory, if you're telling people, wink, wink, to stay out of Florida, isn't that what DeSantis wants? Does he not want to purge the state of Black people, according to your beliefs? So by staying out, doesn't he win? So what I want to do is I want to give a better solution to this, to me, ill-advised ill-advised advice here. Like I say, it's a call to action that has no actions from what I can see. But I'll tell you a better one. I'll tell you a better solution here. Vote. See, this is Ron DeSantis' second election. And if we go back to his first run, he ran against a man by the name of I think it's Andrew Gillum. Now, Andrew Gillum has since been disgraced, but he actually ran a neck and neck race. In other words, DeSantis got in this first term by a slim margin. Now, what this tells me, when you talk about this, how about if I were you, I would concentrate efforts on rallying people to the polls. Now, Florida is primarily a uh, uh, um, uh, Republican state, but the numbers here show, and this is why you have other tactics by DeSantis. Not only is he's feeling emboldened now with his bold measures to try to, as he called it, kill woke, rid the nation of true history, CRT as they call it. Um, but understand his bigger battle was purging voter, but people on the purging people from the voter polls. In other words, what I want to say is the biggest battle you can win against DeSantis is voting him out. And so the question is, are there enough people to vote him out? Now, his first term demonstrated that there was, because that was a very close race. Now, his second, he won by a landslide, his second term. So now he's really feeling himself. But he has, so the question is, your on the ground, your boots on the ground campaign should be motivating people, because let's just face it, a lot of black people, a lot of minorities are disenfranchised. They're not motivated to vote. So it's up to you to motivate them. It's up to the candidate to motivate people. Sell the people. That's what Trump did. Trump sold a bill of goods to what they call the flyover people. You know, those blue collar and lower whites who are still blue collar and lower. But he sold them to get to the polls. They also disenfranchised Hillary supporters for not voting for her, to their shame. And as long as you don't vote, this people like DeSantis, if you want to say anything instead of a travel advisory, which is unclear at best, I don't know what that means. Travel advisory, what does that mean? What are you saying right here? What the heck does this statement mean? In my opinion, it is a completely useless statement. It means nothing. But if you really want to do something, get your people on the ground from the north to the south to the east to the west of Florida, motivating people. Because you may be surprised that there are more people that are disillusioned with DeSantis than you think. That they might be tired of his antics. But you gotta motivate them to get out there and vote. That's what you gotta do. You have to motivate them to vote. So my thing is NAACP, rather than to me waste your time on ineffective, silly messaging like this that doesn't mean anything, put your efforts, your money, find a good candidate, and then get that candidate out. Now, Andrew Gillum was a good candidate until he got caught up. Excuse me. He got caught up in his foolishness. So, candidates, beware when you don't get caught up in foolishness if you're going to run. But here's the thing: he proved that a race could be run to dethrone people like DeSantis. So, a better solution: vote. That's what President Obama said one time when people booed. He said, "Don't boo, vote." All right, guys, that's my perspective. Don't forget to like and share this video and subscribe to BP, the Bible Perspective. And as always, if you have a thought or comment, add it to the comments section below. All comments are welcome. Till next time, I'll see you then.